Unless you're a wildlife enthusiast or expert, there's a good chance you're not aware of the uniquely terrifying animals that still inhabit the wilderness and oceans. If you assume that the reign of these nightmarishly scary beasts ended hundreds of thousands of years ago, or at least their presence has been reduced because of the rapid urbanization, get ready to be amazed. Because turns out these formidable beasts still cohabit the planet with us and can keep you up at night from fear with just their looks. Before we begin, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and for more of these, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of our new releases. Let's get to it. Number 12. Tapeworms. To begin with, we have an organism most people would not regard as horrifying as others, but you're in for a surprise with this measly parasite. Many of us are familiar with these. If they didn't find a way in our gastrointestinal tract, we may know somebody who's dealt with this disgusting creature. Tapeworms are sneaky and therefore easily find a way into the human digestive system by hiding in the food, especially for those who don't pay proper attention to food hygiene. These worms want to be eaten because once they reach the inside of your gut, that's when they begin thriving. Latch onto the mucosa of your stomach and freeload on your food. So basically, your nutrition is your parasite's nutrition. After a while, as it grows in size, its nutritional requirements also increase. Therefore, the tapeworm starts consuming a greater share of nutrients essential for your health. This eventually leads to signs and symptoms of poor nutrition, and your body starts feeling the consequences of not eating properly. Tapeworms tend to grow to enormous sizes inside the human gut. The longest ever to be recorded was 20 feet long and lived inside a person for months on end. And that's just the longest tapeworm discovered in humans, because researchers have claimed that they can grow up to a size of 80 feet. They also have a very long lifespan and can live up to an appalling 30 years inside their hosts. There are various tapeworm species, but none of them can be labelled as less harmful or frightening, so make sure you always pay attention to the hygiene and cleanliness of your food ingredients and cooking space. Number 11. The beaked sea snake. Even though all sea snakes aren't as dangerous, some of the sea snakes boast one of the world's most fatal venoms. Most of these snakes are rare and pretty frugal with their venom, but that doesn't mean they're safe creatures to be around. The beaked sea snake is, however, an exception to this rule and is found in abundance in Asia and Australia. It swims in lagoons and tends to get tangled in the fish nets a lot. This is one of the most brutal and aggressive snakes known to mankind and terrorizes the fishermen or divers who encounter it. Their venom is one of a kind and much more toxic than that of any other reptile, including cobras and rattlesnakes. If someone is unfortunate enough to end up as their prey, especially in the middle of the ocean with no sophisticated emergency medical attention available, chances of survival are pretty low. Number 10. The Black Death. At number 10, we have a highly underestimated animal. Who would have thought that the buffalo would make it to the list of the world's most lethal animals? But wait till you find out why. These large mammals resemble cows, the only difference being their tougher skulls and horns. Now, they may look like they're just lazy, sluggish relatives of cows, but there's much more to these seemingly docile animals. They're not as frightening and brutal as some of the others on this list, and they're usually overlooked by more intimidating predators. But that's just a foolish assumption, for the buffalo has killed more hunters than any other animal in the wilderness, because their calm temperament is quite unpredictable, and it's hard to anticipate when or what might provoke them. Once the buffalo decides that you're a threat, it just charges at you at full speed with no prior warning. The only time experts have found a visible change in them is when they're injured and in severe pain. Therefore, it's more or less impossible to assess the mood of a buffalo, rendering it particularly dangerous. Number 9. Most dangerous eel in the world. This newly discovered ocean dweller is called the Volta eel. Their discovery came as a shock to the scientific world when in 2019 this new species was discovered resting in the Amazon basin. Finding this eel has since then revolutionized the marine sciences and changed how scientists look and perceive various subjects. This menacing eel can deliver a jolt of electricity measuring more than 860 volts. And that's just a small sample of the eel's ability, because researchers have predicted that these eels are capable of delivering much more lethal loads. The Volta eel surpasses by a great margin the fatality potential of the last known most lethal eel, which could only deliver a shock of 640 volts at its best. The discovery of these eels has further strengthened the belief that the Amazon rainforest still holds an unimaginable amount of secret life forms, and protecting it has to be a top priority in the present and future, as deforestation, logging and human destruction can potentially wipe out entire habitats and the yet mostly undiscovered organisms. Number 8. The Humboldt squid. Although giant squids tend to be a rare sighting as opposed to smaller ones present in abundance, recently there's been a spike in reports of giant ones terrorizing the coast of California. Something has triggered them in the past years, and therefore the number of squid attacks on divers has exponentially increased over time. The remnants of their victims are being discovered often. Giant squids are known as carnivorous cephalopods and can attain a weight of around 100 pounds. Another key feature is that they move in swarms and hence are more lethal. Swimmers often report tentacles tugging at or wrapping around their masks or gear. The Humboldt squid has been named after the Eastern Pacific Current, and because of its rusty color, aggressive behavior, and hostility towards humans, it's been nicknamed the Red Devil. This overly increasing aggression also puts researchers at a disadvantage, where they're unable to get any worthwhile samples or even proper photos of the creature. It's been predicted that this behavior will get worse, and it'll become even more difficult to study these underwater beasts. Number 7. The Brazilian wandering spider. Who would have thought that an insect would bag a place among the most terrifying animals to exist? Although some would say that all spiders are sinister and gross, this wandering spider exceeds all expectations. It's a known arachnid of the Amazon, and its bite can be fatal. Its scientific name means murderous in Greek, and we believe the name truly represents its nature. Being the most aggressive and venomous spider on the planet, and if its venom is delivered in lethal doses, there's not much that can be done to save the victim, especially in the wilderness. In case you do get bitten, it's necessary to seek immediate emergency medical care because their venom is extremely potent. But the availability of the antivenom in abundant amounts, if delivered in time, gives you a fair chance of survival. Number 6. Lamprey swarms. These slimy, disgusting fish with mini-toothed tentacles are a true definition of your nightmares coming to life. If we weren't already aware of their existence, we'd be more than happy to just believe they don't exist at all. It's a silent predator that isn't very choosy with its nutrition source. It'll feed on other fish as well as humans using its terrorizing suctioned lip. Using this suctioning mouth, the lamprey attaches itself to the prey, allowing its teeth to gnaw on the flesh. Accurately called the vampire fish, the lamprey doesn't cause much harm by directly attacking you. Rather, it does so by using its ability to eradicate other species and disturbing the ecological balance. This creature is known to destroy everything in its path, and therefore it's necessary to notify the local authorities of their presence, since when they exist in a place, they exist in the form of armies. Number 5. Star-nosed mole. A star-nosed mole may not be as dangerous as the lamprey or the cobra, but it's much more capable than it gets credit for. With its star-shaped nose, it can feel around in the dirt with great efficiency. Scientists go as far as to claim that its hairless tentacled nose renders it as capable of hunting as creatures with night sight. It can predict the movement of its prey by the vibrations that they produce on the surface above. It's the nose supplied with more than 100,000 nerve endings that renders it one of the most deadly hunters of the subterranean grounds. Number 4. World's largest spitting cobra. It's no secret that spitting snakes are one of the deadliest creatures to inhabit the ecosystem. Spitting cobra is no different, for this snake is known to grow up to 15 feet or more in length. The world's largest spitting cobra was discovered in Kenya and was 15 feet long. Named after the foundation of a Kenyan snake farm, James Ash, the Naja Ash, this snake is a mean and murderous reptile. However, the cobra mostly throws its venom when it needs to defend itself from a predator. The venom is ineffective on healthy skin, but if you have an open wound or punctured skin, you might be in for serious trouble, as in that case it can be quite deadly. If it hits you in the eye, the venom can cause blindness, and if a predator dares to get too close, the spitting cobra might just feel threatened enough to bite it and inject the venom inside. Spitting at the venom, however, is usually an act of self-defense. So rest assured, the spitting cobra will not bite unless it plans to hunt or sees you as a life threat. Number 3. The golden poison frog. Number 3 on this list was first discussed in the year 1973 and is one of the world's largest poisonous frogs. It can grow up to 5 centimeters in length, which is quite large in comparison to other poisonous frogs. A single frog is capable of making several poisonous darts. Its color might vary depending on the geography, but usually ranges from bright yellow to green. This infamous frog is one of the world's most poisonous creatures. The use of its poison dates back centuries when it was used to cover darts and spearheads to make them more fatal. On average, a single golden poison frog contains around 1900 micrograms of venom, and as long as the frog is alive, it keeps producing the toxin. Even after drying, the toxin remains active for up to a year. Number 2. Giant python. At number 2, we have the most formidable kind of snake, the giant python, an incredibly large and strong creature that'll haunt you in your nightmares. Even snake lovers can't deny the fact that a reptile of this size can scare anyone's sleep away. The smaller variants of the species might be pet-friendly, but even they are equally dangerous with their unpredictable behavior and unmatched strength. These giant pythons are powerful enough to easily choke out an entire cow and swallow it whole, so you can imagine how easy a target humans would be for them. Generally, the fear caused by snakes is associated with the fact that they're venomous, but the python is a non-venomous snake that preys by using strangulation. The python is capable of growing up to massive sizes and might just be the longest of all snakes, with a length reaching up to a whopping 23 feet. To put this in perspective, imagine an average London bus. That's how long they can get. With this exceptional size comes an exceptionally large appetite. Its usual diet consists of mammals, but the snake won't say no to a bird should the opportunity present itself. Smaller pythons tend to feed on smaller animals like rats and hamsters, but the bigger the python, the bigger its appetite for humans. Despite their daunting behavior, only 2 human casualties by these snakes have been reported in the past few years. Their history with humans and their taste for human flesh became the reason why they were added to the Lacey Act in 2015, which prohibited their import and transportation in the United States. Number 1. Alligator snapping turtles. On the top of the list we have the alligator snapping turtles, and no doubt this turtle lives up to its name with a strong jaw that can easily be used to snap off a human arm like a tree branch within seconds. These are the largest known freshwater turtles and are found mostly in the southeastern parts of North America in rivers, lakes, canals and swamps. Who would have thought a turtle would be the alpha predator of an ecosystem? But this snapping turtle with its ominously powerful jaw doesn't hesitate from establishing its dominance among the deadliest creatures alive. Despite its strength, the snapping turtle has made it on the highly endangered list, with its numbers dropping due to scarcity of enough food to meet the nutritional needs and being the subject of frequent hunting. So this was all about the 12 most lethal animals to ever exist. We're sure by now you're hoping that none of these ever crosses your path. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned for more. We'll be back soon with another smashing information-packed video. Until then, make sure you check out our channel for all the other amazing content we're sure you wouldn't want to miss.